The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
Hello, everyone. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. This is the Angry Chicken. Jocelyn Moffat and Willie Deals Gregory are both here, but we're all here. We're just here to say goodbye. This is the last episode of the Angry Chicken because Purify has released and the game is dead.
Dead game is dead.
Yep. So it's been
really
nice.
been nice, like working with you guys and knowing you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll talk because of Warcraft, but yeah. Bye.
Probably not. I mean, I got the instance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's
yeah.
true. I might show up on there sometimes.
Sometimes Garrett will be there,
Maybe.
but yeah,
Oh, so I'm just out totally. All
You're
right,
just
that's
out.
cool. All right,
Just
well,
out. I mean,
bye,
we'll-
guys.
it's kind of a boys' club.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
We'll put in a good word for you. I can't promise anything. Yeah, guys. Hey, that was fun. That was a fun bit that we all kept to with no notice. So good job, team. Yeah, no, it's not.
I will say though, Purify does suck.
It's-
I tried it. I did try to make it work. It is a really bad card.
It's not great.
Well, not that it's a terrible card on its own, because if you were to put it in some deck to just cycle a card, right? Okay, fine, 2 mana cycle a card. But the deck you have to build to try to make it work, no, it's not good. It's not good, guys.
That's fantastic.
I really tried to.
Yeah, I didn't. I watched a little bit. It's fine. It's fun for the theme deck. It's not a good card. It doesn't need to be a good card. Priest got a good card. Everything's
two good
fine.
cards.
They
Yeah.
got 2 good cards. You're right. You're absolutely right. They got 2 good cards. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, guys.
Sure.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but 2 out of 3 is actually pretty good.
So I actually played in the first week of the Dills Hearthstone League, and my opponent banned Priest because I was trying to play Res Priest. He was like, "Nope, I don't even want to deal with that."
Yep.
So I mean,
It's a pain in the ass.
yeah, it's true. We have like 5 4/7s in the by turn 5 or whatever. No, that sucks, dude. No one wants to deal with that.
There was also a Reddit post this week about some guy who was playing Res Priest against a Paladin who got a 1/1 Tyrion off of Barnes, so he stole the Tyrion. Tyrion died, and then just started rezzing Tyrion.
And they start resin.
He played 5 Tyrions, I think, by the end of the game.
There's actually another post too about Purify because somebody played. What's the 3/4 that gives you a random spell? Spellslinger. Somebody played Spellslinger in Arena and they got Purify. So apparently there is a way to get Purify in Arena, and that is through random spell generation. So they didn't quite fix the code perfectly.
Well, yeah, but that's always the case, right?
Here-
Like, as long as it's technically
I
legal
guess.
in the format.
I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, that's probably working as intended, but
I was about to say, my question is, and I'm surprised this has never come up, because we know the Cthulhu cards are not in Arena. Can you discover Cthulhu cards in Arena? I think you can.
Yeah, you can.
really, I've never seen it happen.
I think I'm 99% sure you can, because I think there was a similar post like when Old Gods launched because of the same thing. Like, I thought we couldn't get these.
Really?
But
Yeah, I've never
I
seen
think
it happen.
they're or maybe not discover, but like anything that randomly generates like 2-cost minions or whatever. Like, yeah, you can get Cthulhu minions.
Interesting. I did not know that.
It-
So yeah,
it-
here's a Reddit thread saying apparently you can discover Cthulhu cards in Arena. Interesting.
Okay, I was about to say, I don't believe it has ever come up on the show, and I am not sure of the answer, but I assume that is the case.
Yeah, I would kind of prefer that they just completely remove them from all mechanics. Like, I think if they're gonna remove them, just remove it, right? So like that card just literally doesn't exist in the pool.
I mean, that would
But-
make the most sense.
And we could
They'd
actually
almost
we
have
don't
to have
any-
like they would probably have to have like some sort of third mode, because right now they've got wild and standard. They'd probably have to make
Well,
like
just
an
officially call it
arena one. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know,
Or
but
And
do
arena
something like
has
that.
all of the cards in wild minus these, arena
Specific ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't have news, so we can kind of talk about it a little bit. But there was a recent video from Disguised Toast about how Hearthstone has a weird kind of history of just not really telling people what they're doing 100% and forcing the community to kind of figure it out, having all this like ambiguity going on when they released patch notes. They didn't tell us that the tokens were going up by 1 cost, and they didn't tell us that they were changing the way Mulligan works, so you can't see the opponent's Mulligan until you've already done yours. This kind of stuff was just kind of discovered through play by the community.
Okay,
And,
I wondered what was going on, because like I was trying to watch my opponent mulliganing, and then I'm just like, he's not
just
doing
sitting there
anything.
waiting,
Like,
this
yeah.
guy is so patient. Oh my
yeah.
god.
I was
So
like,
if you
he's
after
barely-
you mulligan,
Yeah, we talked about that on the-
watch, you see his immediately
Yeah.
after. Yeah.
yeah, we talked about it on the show, but I think you were absent that week, Jocelyn. So if you missed that, that is
That is a
why.
thing. And
Well-
again, not in the patch notes. And I understand that they have said in the past that they like you to kind of discover how interactions work and things like that. And I'm okay with that. But I think, things like the mulligan phase changing should
That
just
is
be in the damn
strategy.
patch notes, right?
Yeah, because that like seeing what your opponent like throws away if they do it before you do. I thought we just had amazing timing because we both mulliganed
You're like,
at
man.
exactly the same time. Yeah.
And this guy, we are synced up. No,
And then 10 games later,
that
you're
kind of stuff, that's not fun to figure out on your own, right?
Yeah.
You're not having a good time being like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
But interactions, I get it. Like interactions, I totally get. So that's one of the cool things. That's actually, in a way, like giving a guy like Disguised Toast a career, right? Because he could go in and do all this like cool sciencey stuff, figure out how Moat Lurker interacts, and realize, oh my god, here's some weird, like this isn't consistent with how it works here. That's bizarre. Is that a bug or whatever? And then he makes a whole video on it. There you go. And gets a lot of views. But there are certain things. It's just like, just put that. Just tell us, guys. Like, I don't want to discover all of this.
The other thing you said was token costs went up. So does that mean like when you evolve like Shaman hero power tokens, then they're 2 instead of 1?
Well, so the totems are still 1, but a bunch
Okay.
of the tokens that get generated through other cards all
Like the
went up.
pilot teacher?
So like the secret spellbender, like the dude that
Yep.
comes out of a spellbender, I think went up. I don't think Violet Teachers did, but like some of the slimes went up. There's you can look on Hearthhead, they data mined all of it. For us,
It was
but
changed, but it was inconsistent. It wasn't like every single token in the game went
Yeah.
up. Specific tokens in the game went up. And again, why this wasn't in the patch notes is beyond me.
Dang it,
like,
Hearthstone.
check out the video that Disguised Toast did. It's we know that Blizzard listens to the show. We know that they watch Disguised Toast videos. So I'm hoping that they will kind of because if you look at say Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, World of Warcraft patch notes, they are just so detailed, right?
Mhm.
And,
They're so detailed that I can't even read them. I'm just
Sure,
like, oh
that-
my god.
yeah.
You bring up a good point, but it is also worth mentioning that stuff gets left out of Heroes patch notes all the time. There's always like undocumented changes, but
That's true.
But I would say that I think it's a little more acceptable there because there is so much. I can understand there being certain things that are left out, especially if it's a big patch with there's a new hero, there's a new battleground, and we completely changed to like mercenary timers or something. I get that. I get something being left out. The last Hearthstone patch was tiny. Like, feel free
Yeah, it was
to
like-
be
it
very
was like
specific about what you
Half a
changed.
page.
Yeah, so
It's there's no excuse for it. It's definitely not being left out on accident. It's definitely like purposely not being put in there because they're just choosing not to do it. Like maybe they just want the shortest little thing that people, but they put in things like some bug fixes. They put in some of that stuff, right? But it just seems so bizarre to me and arbitrary, like what is being included and not.
Mhm.
And I
It
just
almost seems like anything that we've seen kind of mentioned by the community, as in like somebody has noticed, then they're commenting on like, okay, we fixed that bug that you talked about on Reddit. But something like token cost, like if no one's ever mentioned the cost of tokens, then they're just like, whatever, we'll just change it and no one will see.
But it
and then
matters.
people are like,
It's-
my token.
yeah, there's a card called Evolve in the game. Like
Yeah.
you
You need
it's
to know
literally
that.
based on how much things cost, and
Yeah.
people make decks built with tokens to do that. And so it's personally, I just if I had it my way, everything goes in, and if something gets omitted, it's because somebody just forgot. And there's so much that they had to put in that we just missed something. That's fine. That happens. But
what
it
if they
seems
did
like
just forget?
not.
What if it just like?
You think they just forgot
That's
3 huge changes?
That's a lot of shit to forget.
Maybe
They
they're
need
just
to
like,
fire
nobody-
whoever that guy is then. because-
Nobody reads these anyway, so whatever. We'll just tell them there was a patch. We'll give them some info, but
No, read them. I
No.
read them.
Yeah.
On a team as competent in lots of things as Team 5, there's no way that there's like one guy whose job it is to write the patch notes who just sucks at his job. There's no way that that's what causes this.
Yeah, we give it to Steve. He's,
Yeah.
He's the
got
intern.
there's got to be some story. Like
Bill's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
He's keeping his job. He's going through a rough time.
he went through a divorce.
Why do you
He's
guys have to be so mean to
he
Steve?
lost. Yeah. He just cut him some slack. It's not. He used to be amazing, guys. He used to write the best patch notes. He's just in a rough patch. We owe it to him. We owe it to him to let him just get through this funk. Yeah, I don't know, but
Poor Steve.
I all of a sudden
Anyway.
really feel for this fictional Blizzard employee that we just invented.
Nah,
Feel
screw
for this
that guy.
guy.
Screw Steve, dude. Steve sucks.
Hashtag
Hashtag Steve sucks.
Hashtag Steve sucks. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but hey, again, it's one of those things. At the end of the day, it's fine. The game is okay. We figured it out. We can go to third-party websites and read it. Is that how we would like it? No. Is the game still
but
okay and
yeah.
fun and playable? Yes.
We're being critical because it's our job to talk about the game, and also because we love the game and we want it to we want all the things to be better if possible.
And
so.
because honestly, why? Why? Just why?
Why? Yeah,
Why?
yeah. And lastly, why?
Just
because why?
You make me just just shake my head. I wonder why. But why not? Like, why are
Bizarre.
you doing that? It makes no sense. It just seems
Weird
weird.
stuff.
It's a very bizarre, purposeful omission. I don't get it. So, anyways, moving on. How did we like the Menagerie? Now, Dills, you sadly, were stuck at the DMV, so you were not able. Able to play on stream with us. So let's get your hot take. What did you think of the Menagerie?
The battles themselves again were just ridiculously easy in this wing. So they've clearly toned down the difficulty levels as far as I didn't even think about what I was going to bring or anything. And there was one, I can't remember, maybe it was the second fight where it was pretty clear that maybe building a deck specifically for it would be a good idea. But I was like, I'm just going to play Zoo, dude. It's fine.
I think that's the one that Garrett, we had to build the deck for. I think we lost with Dragon Warrior or
yes.
something.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we had to build the deck for the second fight.
Yeah, there was like a special
wasn't-
mechanic, but
Yeah. It
But
wasn't
I just
particularly
played Zoo
hard.
and it just
but-
won and it was fine. And then all the class challenges, actually the class challenges are interesting to me just because I just want to see what decks I'm guessing Ixar built for these class challenges. And that's pretty fun for me. So I enjoyed those. There's 3 of them too in this wing. There's 3 class challenges, so there's a lot of those. But as far as the cards that got introduced, Menagerie Warden obviously everyone was very excited about. Purify people were less excited about, but then we got all those the Zoobot and the Menagerie Magician, and so this was the wing where we get introduced to this new type of deck, right?
And
we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but I got to be honest, I was underwhelmed by the cards that we were given in this wing compared to what we had gotten in the previous wings. I think there's actually less impact on the latter than say Arcane Giant, I think that made a bigger impact for sure.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I think overall I've found this wing to so far be kind of the most overwhelming just in terms of playing through it. I really like the Curator as a character, and that stuck with me. I found him wildly entertaining, but the fights didn't really...
That was a fun fight, actually, and one that I could have lost because I didn't realize how it actually worked. It said hero has taunt or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then he played
Mal'Ganis for us, which was ridiculous.
That'll screw you, yeah. No, but he played the 3-1 with Wind Fury, the friggin' Shaman thing. And I was like, oh god, I'm taking 6 a turn. I can't kill that.
The
I'm
Dust
playing
Devil.
Zoo. I don't have any removal.
Yeah, the Dust Devil. No,
Dust Devil, yeah.
You're absolutely right. No, I mean, Mal'Ganis worked for us because once you once he became immune, then he kind of lost taunt, so we could target Mal'Ganis, but we kind of we
interesting.
just forgot. We were dumb. So if you were there, you would have just been yelling at us.
Yeah, that's a weird mechanic that doesn't come up basically
Often.
ever.
Yeah.
No, basically ever, because your hero never has taunt. So, like in a game, your hero will never have taunt and immunity.
Mhm.
It's only going to happen in
that one fight.
Yeah. Well, there's one other fight
For
isn't there
now.
where the hero has taunt in an older adventure, I think.
I believe.
Wasn't that
remember what
a
that's
tavern brawl?
I think it was a tavern brawl.
Yeah.
That's right, a tavern brawl.
Where
Yes.
this was probably tested.
Yeah.
This was. I'm sure somebody brought this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I found that fight to be one that I could have potentially lost based on my deck choice, but I just got lucky enough that I was able to just do more damage to him than he did to me. And he never trades either. Like the curator never once tried to trade. It just hit my face over and over, and I was like, well,
Well,
you're gonna
'cause he
keep leaving
wants
my
them
minions
to go
up.
free. He doesn't
Yeah.
want his little, like, I don't know, exhibits to die.
Sure. Here's the deck though to play against that. Just play Hunter with explosive traps. Hunter with explosive traps and some quick shots, and you're chilling.
That's exactly what we ended up doing.
Yeah.
Although
No
afterwards, I think we also figured out that Tempo Mage would have been pretty dope.
Tempo Mage. Oh yeah, Tempo Mage for sure. Tons and tons of removal.
Mhm.
And then your minions get big and they go face, and yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Yeah, and by afterwards, I mean in the middle of playing it the second time with our Hunter deck, we're like, Tempo Mage would have been even better than this Hunter deck. But we won, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So I am curious to go once the whole adventure is done. I think I am going to go back and on stream try to play it on Heroic because I haven't really been doing this in a while, and the fact that I'm hearing it's so much easier has just kind of piqued my curiosity to see it for myself. So I think what I'll do maybe is I'll do a stream where I go back and I do like Blackwing, and then I'll do this, right? We'll see
I
what's up.
found, because I went back,
BlackRock.
to do BlackRock, because I'd already done Nax, and I went back just to see, like, because we had the conversation of, is Heroic actually more difficult now? And I went, and I just got my butt kicked. Like, totally handed to me. And then
You
I went
do
in and
have to
did
make special-
Karazhan, and then I was like, this is a lot easier.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, BlackRock, that's no joke, man. Even with
Yeah.
new cards, that's no joke.
I mean, Nax was very tough. There was some. I remember Kel'Thuzad was like.
Yeah.
took me lots of tries to get Kel'Thuzad. You have to get a little lucky too.
Well, doing Nax is what made me like never want to do heroic
Yeah, you're like,
adventures
"Screw
ever
this, I
again.
don't
I was
care."
like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing this for a card
How,
back yet.
Card back's not worth. Yeah.
How much do we think, though, it is just that we have more cards now? How much? Because it's definitely had an effect. Is it the
That is true. Because
strongest reason?
At the time, we didn't have that many card backs, right? So
Uh,
an extra card back seemed like a pretty nice reward.
Oh, card backs? No. I'm just talking about
Garrett's
cards.
talking about, is it
Oh,
easier to-
cards.
We just have more cards, and adventures are wild, so you can use any card that's ever been released.
Yeah,
Well, that's
but
why I want to
I
test
have
the
all
old
cards
ones.
now,
Yeah.
and I went back to BlackRock with the new all the new cards, and still it's freaking tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's why I'm curious to see it for myself because I am curious like with this card pool, you know, like or the other test would be to limit yourself to only cards that came out say by Nax or something like that. So classic, basic, and Nax cards, and then try to do.
You're just a glutton for punishment, eh? You're just
Yeah,
like,
well,
you know,
I played a lot of Purify Priest this week too. I just hate myself.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I don't really care that it's easier. I've been having fun in Karazhan. I just want the cards, man. And the bosses is just this fun little extra thing for me. It is like the furthest thing from the reason I'm paying for the adventure. I just want the card. If I could pay $25 and just get the cards, I would be fine with that. But
I actually forgot that I hadn't completed it. I went to build a deck. I went to build the Druid deck, and then I was just like, where is this card? Oh, I didn't play it. Garrett played it, and I was with him when we were doing this. And I was just like, oh, man.
Oh, I gotta
I
do
had
it
to
again.
like rush through the whole wing because I was just like, crap, I need these cards.
It literally took me, I think, 15 minutes on stream though, to do the whole
it doesn't.
thing.
It didn't
Yeah,
take
it
a
wasn't very
ton of time. I mean, our videos have been coming in just under an hour, but that's because we're making it a thing.
You're
we're
talking.
We're
Yeah,
talking
we're
and having
talking, yeah.
fun and playing with the chat room and having a good time. But no, I mean, honestly, for me, it's fine. I'm sure if making it easy was a conscious decision, I am sure that there was a reason for it. I'm sure there's some statistic talking about drop off or some type of unpopularity of the most recent adventure, although that would blow my mind because League of Explorers was, I think, the best one. But I don't know. I'm asking, and this is our personal opinion. Clearly, there is a voice out there. There is a large section of the community that is a bit disappointed that it's easier, but I'm definitely not in that camp. What about you guys?
No, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, but I would say that the people who are disappointed, I don't know if it's really worth disappointing them. Because everybody else just doesn't care, right? So the people who do care, like, just make them happy, right?
Well, I'm sure there are people out there who don't like it when it's difficult. I'm sure you could go back to Nax, you could go back to BlackRock, and you could dig up forum posts and Reddit posts about people like, oh man, this is too hard. I just want the new cards. So there's definitely.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying heroic. Like the regular version was never, of any of the adventures, was never hard enough to really keep people out. I don't think. I'm sure there are people who definitely had some issues with some of the fights because of maybe a limited card pool or just they're new to the game. They don't have all of the knowledge about what you should be doing in any certain situation. So but like to me, it's just like, in World of Warcraft, when they made a lot of things easier, yes, it made more people do, like when they gave us LFR, more people got to see the content, but to take away the difficulty of like the high end stuff, disappointed tons of people who I think actually mattered. Like their opinion is valid, that they want the difficulty, and you can give both, right? You can make both people happy by having it easier and regular and still very challenging and heroic. I think I would like to see it tuned hard and heroic. I would personally.
Oh yeah,
not for myself, just for people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as far as for heroic, make it as hard as you want because I'm not going to play it and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much like the only thing I could see for me to play it is just if I were doing it on stream, just to have fun on stream. But if I was never a streamer, if I didn't ever do it, if I didn't talk about the game, if I didn't have this kind of need to maybe try things out that I normally wouldn't, if I was just playing the game for fun, hell no, I would never do it. I'd just get the cards and go.
Awesome. Well, all right, cool. So Menagerie sounds like fallen lower on the tier of enjoyment, I think, for all three of us, but I still enjoyed it, still dug it. I still am happy with Karazhan overall.
Yeah, I think for me it was definitely like Wing 1, 3, and then 2. So this was not quite as good just because I love Beauty and the Beast. So having all the like dancing cutlery and stuff, I just love the theme of week 1. So but yeah, Menagerie, I still enjoyed it though. The curator is enough for me to enjoy the experience because he was a really fun, cool boss.
Oh yeah, he was great. He was just the curator is sorry.
Yes,
I love
exactly. That. Like he had great flavor.
And I think for me, I mean, we don't have the Spire, we don't have the Final Wing, but I think Karazhan's gonna fall in as my second favorite adventure, like in terms of just playing it and the flavor and the presentation.
Which one is your favorite?
Oh, League of Explorers, absolutely. It's the correct answer, Jocelyn. It's objective. It's not an opinion.
I was just double checking because like I don't know, you guys are real like nostalgic about like Karazhan and Nax and stuff, so I didn't know if you were gonna say like I used to raid Nax, so Nax is best.
No, I think just overall I'm liking it, like because of the curator. Like I didn't give a crap about the curator in Karazhan, like the raid. He was just this annoying purple gem monster I had to kill.
Isn't he optional? The curator, or did you have to do the curator? Because I know there was a few optional bosses.
No, you had to do the curator.
You had to do the curator?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember like exactly which ones were optional.
Nightbane and it was the 2 dragons, I think, because it was the Nightbane and I forget the other. Who was the
one
dragon?
Outside. Who was you would go out and summon?
Well, that was Nightbane. Who was the one that was like in the observatory? Because I think that was.
Oh, maybe it was the guy that was in the library or something too. Because there was definitely a few that was just like, yeah, you don't have to do these. Like you can just skip over everything.
Shade of Iran, I think, was required. Ilhoof. Ilhoof. He was the one hiding behind the bookshelf, and you go down into the little demon summoning room.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Now I remember the curator. It was like before you'd actually get to the Spire or whatever, right?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you had to.
Right, Joss? You know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea.
We need to take Jocelyn through Karazhan and WoW.
I can help you with like lore stuff, but I definitely can't help you with raid progression questions.
Especially not
Did
old
you have to kill
raids.
the horse too? Or was the horse optional as well?
Oh, Ottoman the Huntsman?
Yeah, Tumen. I always called him a two-man for some reason.
I think
but,
you can
yeah.
skip him. I don't remember. People
I
are
think
going
you
to
could skip
correct
him
us.
too.
This is a bad conversation to have because we're going to get something wrong and we're going to get like 30 emails correcting us.
Sure.
And
So-
Not to
as
mention
far as,
it's
like-
not Hearthstone.
yeah.
As far as cards from this wing that I thought were gonna be really impactful, I'm a little surprised at how I didn't really think Nightbane Templar turned out as good as I thought it would be too. I don't know. I played, and we'll talk about these in the strategy section a little bit, but I played some of the kind of Menagerie type Paladin deck,
Mhm.
and I was bored out of my mind playing that deck. I gotta say, it was just okay. Here's how much mana do I have? Here's how many dudes I can play, and like it was just not fun at all. And I'm a little disappointed because I thought those cards would be a little bit more fun, just to try to make a deck that actually works. And maybe we haven't gotten there, or I haven't tried the right version of the deck, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think I was just after the wing was done, whether I liked the wing itself or not, I think I was just disappointed with the cards that we got in this wing. I don't think there was as many impactful cards. Babbling Book I think is actually maybe the coolest one of all of them.
I mean, I
It's
get
a
that.
nice
and-
turn one play.
yeah, I understand that sentiment. And one of the wings is going to have the
Sure.
least impactful
It has to happen.
group of cards. It's just, someone's got to come in last. So that I don't know. I think it's fine. There were still some cards. It wasn't completely a bust.
No, like the Curator, the card itself, I think is still a really good card and one I'm still going to mess around with a lot. But I expected Nightbane Templar to be something really good, and it just kind of turned out to be just kind of I don't know. It's like a boring play. Like, yeah, here, look at this, check it out. My 2 whelps and my 2/3, and then you still kind of get beat by a lot of other decks. Like it's pretty weak against things like Tempo Mage and stuff. You just kind of get crushed, and all your creatures just get run over, and then you fall behind. And so I don't, I'm sure that there's a deck out there that works really well for this, but I'm struggling outside of Menagerie Warden, and even that I think had less impact than I was expecting.
Yeah,
It is very good when
I-
you get the perfect setup, but
Yeah, I haven't tried a lot of post Menagerie decks. I've just been playing Death Rattle Hunter after Jocelyn recommended it, and I'm just running over Beast Druids. It's like, cool,
Sure.
you played Menagerie Warden on 6. By the way, you're at 8 health going into turn 7. You're dead. Like,
well, not to mention you essentially take turn 5 off to make this big turn 6 thing because you play a tiger, which you have a tiger, but it's stealth. You don't do anything to my board. You just play the tiger, and I go, oh well, that's terrifying. Here's a Savannah Highmane, and I'm gonna hit your face for like 8, and I have kill command in my hand.
yeah.
What up?
Yeah. We're starting to get into our deck talk. I think we'll get into that in just a second. But
Yeah,
before
let's do it.
we do, how stoked are we for the Spire? I mean, we're gonna go and do Nether Spite. We're gonna do Shade of Iran. Who do we think the secret boss is?
Oh,
Has Medivh gone mad? Are we gonna fight Medivh?
Oh God, I hope
Interesting.
not. Did you play the prologue? He's super OP.
yeah, right.
I personally think that would be pretty great because we already fought Malkazar. So,
But as Medivh, I
Well-
don't think any of our normal heroes can stand up to the Guardian. Just
yeah,
saying.
it is a little bit weird that we've
well,
essentially fought the final boss.
what if we fight him as what if you get to play as Khadgar or something and you fight Medivh?
Well, the fact that we're getting a Medivh card does seem to suggest that we will
He'd
have
be
to
a boss,
defeat
yeah.
Medivh.
My money is on fighting Medivh.
Okay. Medivh gone mad. Here comes Sargeras infused Medivh.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
but-
would be really cool.
But more like Sargeras just is really mad he wasn't invited to the party, so he's possessing Medivh to just get into the party, have a good time. He just wants to bust a move, man. He just wants to bust a move.
He shows up and he's like, "You guys got to try my demon juice," and he's like heads to the punch bowl and
Exactly.
starts putting Fell in there.
Dude,
yeah,
Sar-
okay, all right.
Sargeras knows exactly how to party, man.
He doses the party with Fell.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I could see it. We do also get Prince Melkazar in this wing too, right? So we get
Yeah.
Yes.
Medivh and Melkazar. So it's got to be some sort of combination of the two. Like he pulled Medivh into the Twisting Nether, and then they've corrupted Medivh, and they come back, and you got to fight them both or something. Yeah, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, it could be a 2-stage fight. You beat Medivh, and then Medivh is like, "Oh, I've snapped out of it," and then you have to defeat Malkazar again. You know, it was. I mean, it's, as
like
we
the
know,
right fight.
Yeah, or just like most of Warcraft bosses, death is merely a setback.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this next wing, I'm incredibly excited about the cards. First of all, Medivh, I don't care if it's actually good or not. I just want to play with Medivh. I just want to. That card is really fun. Medivh's Valet, obviously, we've talked about on this show, is probably a really insane card. And then Ethereal Peddler finally means we can play the Burgle Rogue
Yay!
to the fullest extent. Yeah.
I'm really excited to screw around with Ethereal Peddler and Burgle.
And also, like, I want to try Violet Illusionist, because I had the theory that Violet Illusionist might be really good in, like, a mill deck, where you play it and then you start milling your opponent, but you're also almost out of cards, but you don't take the damage from the fatigue, and they just do, and you could just go crazy. You can go ham on them. So, some good stuff in there.
So Rogue is going to get even more annoying, is Dill's prediction for the Spire cards. Ethereal Peddler, Violet Illusionist.
Well, Rogue is not in a good place right now anyway. I don't know if Ethereal Peddler brings it back, but we also get Malkazar's Imp finally, so that Disco Lock gets all of its tools.
That's the card I think I'm the most excited for. I mean, Medivh's Valet has a really angry looking flame throwing monkey. I hope it's just a fire spell and not something else he's throwing at you that he happened to set on fire first.
Yeah. I guess that's true. John Snyder in chat says Violet Illusionist and Fool's Bane no. Yeah, no. The reason no is because you can do the same exact thing by just brawling one time. So why would you play 2 cards and then start attacking a bunch of things that have to have less than 3 health? But you can play 1 card and just brawl, and then there's just 1 creature left on the board. So, yeah.
Yep, and you just say, "RNGesus, take the wheel."
It is weird, like that card. They could put out a card that can attack as many times as you want in a turn, and it's not good. But they did it. Costs too much.
Maybe something will come next expansion that will make Fool's Bane amazing.
You never know. It could be. I still haven't tested in Arena. It could be actually pretty good in Arena because it's hard to get Brawl in Arena. But
I think it's fine. Like I don't think it's extremely exciting in Arena, but I think it's a fine card. It's not. There's much worse cards you could see come up on a common pick.
True. Yeah. I think in Arena that's where it actually does have its potential to shine. But it's just like and constructed, like, why would I choose this over all of these other really OP warrior cards?
Yeah.
They're just all so good. I also think Violet Illusionist, that's an Arena card. Because, like, if you're a rogue or something like that, you pick Violet Illusionist, and now your ping never hurts you when on your turn. So
Druid as well.
Really good. Yeah. Druid and warrior, of course, too.
Mm-hmm.
You draft tons of weapons anyway, and now you can just use them as removal without it taking the damage.
Yeah,
so
it's perfectly fine. And it's on the common level. Huzzah.
And it's a 3-mana 4/3, so hey, it's fine.
Totally fine. Good.
Stats are fine.
Yep. Well, sweet. Well, before we talk about some decks, let's thank our patrons who are supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. I don't know if you guys noticed, but last week we put out 3 episodes. Well, like 2, and then we had the over an hour video stream. And that's because of you awesome patrons supporting the show. That's why we get to do extra episodes. That's why we get to do our hangout shows. So thank you guys. And if you're out there listening and you're not a patron and you're thinking, I like the show, I want to kick them $1 or $2, well, head on over to patreon.com/TAC and consider supporting the podcast. This episode, we wanted to thank James M., Thomas E., Cameron S., Mad Spooks, Ashy EW, Ryan W., Zachary T., and David, no last name given. We will call you David Scoots. I don't know why. I just feel like saying Scoots. So thank you for your support, guys. We really do appreciate it. Now, let's get into the strategy and talk some of the decks that have popped up in a post-Menagerie world.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
So, we've already talked a little bit about Beast Druid. We already talked a little bit about Evolved Shaman. We've already talked a little bit about Menagerie Paladin. But let's eat our meat and potatoes. Let's get into the I don't know. Let's get deeper into this conversation. I'm gonna stop trying to make metaphors. Let's start with Beast Druid. They got their 6-mana scary card with the Menagerie Warden. We were all terrified of this. Many pros were a little scared about this card's effectiveness as well. It's here. How did it land, guys?
It is a good card.
It is. I think at least where I was playing on ladder, because I made not this specific Beast Druid deck. It was a little heavier on the beast, didn't have the curator. And it was working pretty well, but at the same time, I was just facing a lot of aggro. And then so the exact same problem that you mentioned earlier, Garrett, where, you know, you get to that big turn 6 and then you can't actually do anything till turn 7, and I was dead by turn 7 more often than not. Sometimes I just got super god draw and got like enchanted ravens and marks of Yasharaj, and I was just, you know, had a ridiculous board by the turn 3, but you know, that happened 1 out of 3 games or 4 games. And then you don't have enough board presence to pressure enough early on to stay alive past your big, huge swing turn.
Well, I mean, that's why this version, I think, is the better version. Because I did the same thing. I started out just going all beasts, just full beast. And the problem with that is a lot of times you just empty your hand and then they have 1 AoE and you're like, well, I lose.
Yeah.
So this version has a lot more ability to just kind of, you know, continue to reload, continue to apply pressure. If you're going to be playing things like Power of the Wild anyway, you might as well also have Violet Teacher, you know. So, you know, it's just, it finds way, like this deck finds ways to, you know, draw enough to continue to apply the pressure and also do things with, like, say, Violet Teacher to, you know, load the board a little bit more than, say, playing. Because if you notice in this deck, there's not a single the 5/4 that increases your hero power, which, like, that's the card like everyone thinks like, oh, that's got to be in there. It's like that card's a trap, dude. Like
Savage Combatant.
Yeah. That card is literally like a trap. It looks amazing, but it's a 5/4 that just dies immediately before you ever really get effect out of it. And a Violet Teacher just works so much better. Sir Finley, what you want to get is Life Tap, because you can just continue to tap through, and because you kind of play this deck a little bit zooey. But if you don't, you can also take like Ping, or if you are already in a dominant position, you could take like Hunter Hero Power and just try to, you know, kill him fast. Yeah, or like, honestly, I found that the Priest Hero Power was totally fine in this deck, because you can then make some pretty nice trades, heal your board back up, and try to maintain board presence. But yeah, like cards like Azure Drake and the Curator just help you just continue, right? You can actually go to a late game position with a deck when it's a little bit built in this manner. But the first version I made was just all beasts, all aggro. I tried to just win as fast as I could, and I just got crushed many times. So yeah,
and a sad panda in the chat room is pointing out that the deck is almost entirely minion based, and said that when they lost board presence, it was pretty much over every time, and that's very true. It kind of, I think all the decks we're looking at today, they're very minion heavy. It's almost like Zoo has shown up for all classes with the Menagerie.
But you know, that's not a bad style with Druid anyway. Druid's always been very minion heavy until we saw this recent kind of Yogg token Druid. Druid just hasn't had historically great removal options. So it's better to just play strong minions, you know, play really beefy minions and have more mana than your opponent, and allowing you to play stronger minions than they play. And then you just end up, you know, tempoing them out, and that's kind of what this deck is trying to do. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, because I also had a version that had Wrath in it, and then I found this version that took it out. And I think Wrath is just an ability to cycle a card, or, you know, be removal is really important as well. So I'm not 100% sure that this list is definitely where I'd land, but I found pretty decent success with this one. You know, Azure Drake, Marky Yasharaj, and the Curator is enough draw to maintain and continue to have a hand. But the other version I was playing, it was like my hand was empty by like turn 5 every single game. And 1 board clear, and that was it. Game over.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you can actually reload the board with Violet Teacher too. Like, board wipe is not as terrible as it once was when you have some of these token aspects now. So let's say they wipe your board when you've got things like Druid of the Flame, Mounted Raptors, you know, Druid of the Sabers, that kind of stuff. That's what you started with. And then later in the game, they find a way to clear that, and then you just get 1 big Violet Teacher turn off, and suddenly you're good to go. So, you know, I think that there's going to be multiple versions. Like, there'll be Beast Druids that are a little bit more control-y, and then there'll still be the aggro version of it as well.
I had Fandral in my deck as well because a lot of the Druid beasts are choose one. So
yeah, you get
I had
Power of
him
the
in
Wild, Druid of the Saber, Druid of the Claw. Yeah.
Yep.
But you don't have like if I put Fandral in, I definitely put Wrath back in.
Yeah, I had Wrath in mine.
Yeah, and this
And I don't think I had Living Roots. I'm trying to think.
Living Roots is great with Fandral. You get do 2 damage and you get the 2 saplings.
Yeah,
so.
that's hard not to, if you're running Fandral, not to run Living Roots.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Living Roots, like if you have Violet Teacher, you want Living Roots just because it gives you can do the, like, let's say you have Innervate or something, you can do Violet Teacher, Living Roots, Innervate, Power of the Wild on tons and tons of tokens, right?
I know what I had. I had Raven Idols instead of Living Roots.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That was my 1 mana spell.
Raven Idols can be really effective because you can play them. You often don't play them on 1, like you play them later on when you know what's going on in the game and what the texture of the board looks like to look for specific things. So yeah, I'm a fan of Raven Idol for sure. That's like I said. I think there's lots of different ways to craft this deck. I think you can definitely go in multiple directions. As long as you get a couple of big beast synergy turns, then everything is good. Then things are going great for you. And right now, all the synergy you really need is Marquee Ashiraj and Menagerie Paladin. That's pretty much it.
Yep, that's so good.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
and the curator drawing multiple cards is just amazing. So
yeah, and we've only had 5 days with the Menagerie cards, so I don't think it would be impressive if this was already set in stone.
Yeah. No, it won't be. Yeah. But I really do think if we could say anything, Savage Combatant is just a card that, while I expected to be amazing in this deck, turned out to just be underperforming. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's because essentially it's like a 6-drop. It's not even a 4-drop. Like a lot of times you play it on 4 and then it just dies. But if you play on 6, you actually get to hero power 1 time. And yeah. And then I had games too where I was playing it when I was also playing Finley. And then I would hero power thinking I was going to get 3 damage, but I forgot and I'd turn my hero power into something else. And I was like, oh no. I only have 2 damage now. I needed 3. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential here. It will be a deck that you'll see in tournaments, and we'll just see where it goes from here.
Yeah, I'm excited. If this is kind of the skeleton and this kind of gets changed up, I'm okay with it. At the moment, it kind of looks like Druid's greatest hits. There's a little bit of everything that Druid has been in here, plus the new beast archetype. You've got a little bit of, you got ramp, you have a little bit of token in there as well. And I'm excited that the curator's actually making it into a deck. Because I wasn't sure it was going to.
Oh no, I was sure it would for sure. Reno Lock at the least, right? But yeah, any like dragon deck that can use like 1 beast or something will definitely find a way to make this work. Plus, we're not talking about, or are we talking about it? Oh, okay. We might as well move on to let's talk about the Menagerie deck itself then.
Okay, the Menagerie Paladin.
Yeah,
the one that apparently
this is the deck Strifecrow made that I hated.
So this is the deck that is boring you to tears.
Yeah, but I will say this: like, I think he had the first version of it that I thought looked decent, right? And I think we'll see probably more people tinker with this as well. But he actually went kind of for the full thing, right? To try to make the Magician work and the Zubat work. And a really interesting way to do that in Paladin is to just play the Vilefin Inquisitor, right? Mm-hmm. Because whether you don't put any other Murlocs in, but now your hero power tokens are just Murlocs. So suddenly, you can hero power, play a dragon, and then Zubat, and you're buffing your hero power and your dragon, right?
Yep.
So I thought that was a really interesting inclusion. I thought that worked really well. But then I just found that this game was just way too linear, And all you really are doing is just playing your minions on curve, or hoping that you play your minions on curve, and then just hoping that you make good trades. And I don't know, I just found it so boring. It's just I was like, where's my N'Zoth Paladin? Where's my Anyfin Paladin? This is just not that fun. However, I think if this idea works, it's probably Paladin that makes it happen.
I do love Zubat. I think that card is great. It's got really adorable art, and I love that it's just buffs all your stuff. I'm glad that there's a deck that actually makes use of it, because I don't think anyone really thought that Menagerie decks were even going to be a thing. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that this is at least viable, if boring.
I am going to try more. I'm going to try to make more Menagerie decks and figure out if there's a class that works better. Because I'm thinking maybe Warlock would work really well too, because you can actually play a zoo style. Literally zoo. I mean, that's the name zoo comes from Magic, because the zoo deck itself played a whole bunch of different types of minions, but they didn't necessarily work with each other, but they was just like, oh, one's like a elf and one's a beast and one's a whatever. Like, and it was just like that's kind of how the name kind of got started, and then taking on a bit different of a meaning in Hearthstone, because in Hearthstone we just kind of mean I'm just flooding the board with minions. Like, I'm just playing tons and tons of minions. Right?
Yeah, it's a bunch of low-cost minions, so you can pretty much curve out perfectly every single game.
Yeah, and what this version is trying to do is, play multiple types of minions and make them all work together, right? So this is a little bit closer to what Zoo is in Magic, but I think that Warlock is the deck that could maybe make this work, because you could get away with playing, some Murlocs. Like, I would put in Bluegill Warriors just as little 2/1 chargers, right? To use as removal, or to give me reach with Power Overwhelming, or I could put them next to Direwolf Alphas, right? And they're 3/1 chargers for 2. Like that. I think that could totally work. And then you wouldn't need that many more Murlocs. You just have a few of those guys, and maybe you could find some time to Zoobot them. I don't know. Like, I just think that there's potential.
There's always time for Zoobotting.
Yeah. There's potential ways to find the good way to exploit this. But this is the first deck I saw that I thought actually might be viable that has been using this. And he was playing it on stream and doing fairly decently. So obviously it's Strife Crow, so he knows how to play
Hearthstone
better than most people. But yeah.
I had this actually. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I had this played against me, and it was definitely confusing, because I was like, "Wait, if you're Murloc, why do you have Vile Fins, and what's even happening right now?"
Yeah. So the tricky thing in the Zoo deck would be to be able to find dragons that work, but I still think though you could just play like Fairy Dragons and Azure Drakes and be okay. Like, I don't know. I don't think you need to go all in on this. You just need to get a turn where, like, because even if you only buff one thing with Menagerie Magician, it's fine on 5, right? If you only buff one thing with Zoobot, it's fine. This is essentially like a Northshire Cleric, or not. I mean, what's Shattered Sun Cleric? This is essentially a Shattered Sun Cleric with 3/3 stats again. If you can hit one thing, right?
Yeah, then if you good God, if you hit anything more than one thing, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, if you hit 2 things, it's amazing. So,
well, it's like the conversation that we always have with like these theme decks. Is like, you don't have to go too far all into your theme. You just have to, like, have a little part of your deck that works well together. You don't want to try to go like just full on with beasts or full on with menagerie stuff.
I agree. Yeah, you have to go far enough, but if you go too far, then the deck just is bad, right? So you got to find the
too much
balance.
Combos is not easy to draw into.
Yeah, that's even true for the Beast Druid we just talked about. It's at its core, it's still got Token Druid in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you play a lot of zoo cards, and then you put in a couple of key beasts, Murlocs and dragons, and then you put these cards in, right?
Yep.
And that's basically how you make it work. And then I think you could actually get away with a curator if you made that deck too, just because, drawing 2 cards, playing a 4/6 with taunt.
Pretty good.
So it would be less aggressive than Zoo is currently, for sure. It'd be more of a mid-rangey deck.
I like mid-rangey decks.
Mid-range Zoo sounds fun to me. I want to try and make this now.
So that, I mean, if you remember, Garrett, a long time ago when I was playing like a lot of open tournaments and stuff, that was the deck that I was playing essentially. It was like a mid-range Warlock. Right?
Oh, I remember, because I was playing that exact same deck and doing quite well with it.
Yeah, it was super fun. I mean, we didn't have as many tools as we have now, so I feel like that type of deck could be maybe even better at this point.
Yeah, no, I remember that deck very well because I had you teach me how to play it on a couple occasions.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. It's so funny. I want to go back and watch some of our old videos just to kind of see, how simple our actual understanding of Hearthstone mechanics was. Because, even though we had a pretty decent understanding at the time, I remember talking to you about the deck, just like, well, here's the number one thing: just always trade.
Always control the board, no matter what is happening.
Yeah,
just like really, and like
you almost got him killed. Yeah, no, don't go face. No, kill the thing. Like no. it's gotten so much more nuanced since then. But anyway, it's fun to kind of like revisit that time.
Yeah, now just about everything is, well, if X, then Y.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Well, let's before we move on, let's talk about Evolved Shaman.
So this deck I included not because it's got a whole bunch of cards from the last wing, which is generally what we've been doing with this section.
It's blowing
but
up
mostly,
this week, though.
Yeah. Mostly because I just actually think this deck is actually good. And I had a blast playing it.
I mean, Tice made top 30 over the weekend with this deck, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Savitz has been playing it a lot, and he thinks it's, he actually thinks it's got actual potential. So it's a super fun deck, first of all, because evolving is just the best. I was putting on the theme from 2001: A Space Odyssey and like slowly lifting my evolve to the top before I released it.
You dork.
Hey, I'm streaming. I got to entertain the people.
Evolve.
It was super fun, and it actually won tons and tons of games. There's some cards in here that I've been wanting to find ways to make work. So, I think Jeweled Scarab is a really fun card. I think it's cool to see Arcanosmith go into a deck and actually be a thing. Hammer of Twilight, I've been waiting to find a spot for. And here it is. And then, of course, Nerubian Prophet and Thing from Below are like your wins. Now, my version had Moat Lurker because I just couldn't not have Moat Lurker in my Evolved Shaman deck. So I encourage anybody else out there, throw Moat Lurker in here just for the real fun. It's 6 mana, kill a thing, and then evolve it into a 7-drop and don't give them the thing back. It's awesome. So definitely give that a go. Plus, sometimes you evolve into a Sylvanas, and then you Moat Lurker your own Sylvanas. So,
and then you feel really dirty for about a second, and then you get happy.
Yeah, this deck does have some dirty turns for sure. Also, Pantry Spider is in the deck, which is super fun because both of the Pantry Spider and the token that comes off of it both cost 3. So when you evolve those, you get 2 4-drops for 4 mana, right? So that's really good. But yeah, just an awesome deck, super fun to play. It is a deck where when your board gets wiped, though, you sometimes feel real sad because that's basically your win condition is have a board.
Really hurts if Evolve is currently in your hand as well. It's just like, oh, hey, hello, dead card. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, but it has enough tools to actually fight back on the board without just using your minions.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Rockbiter weapons, you have Hexes, you have Lightning Storm. Argent Horse Riders are fantastic. You play it, you kill a thing, you evolve it into a 4-drop. It's awesome. So
here's what excites me probably the most about this deck. 1, there's no Tunnel Trog. And I am excited for any Shaman that breaks the mold a little bit in that regard. 2,
there's no Doomhammer either.
Yeah, 2, it's running Hammer of frickin' Twilight. I love that card. It does not see enough play. This is super cool.
Yeah, I mean, you get a 4/2, then you can evolve into other stuff. So it's good.
And also now I'm sad I dusted my Golden Hammer of Twilight.
Oh, don't.
It's all right as long as you have Golden Evolves. Golden Evolves are key to this deck because it evolves everything into Golden versions.
I do have 2 Golden Evolves. I dusted one of them for one of the lock and loads that we needed when we were doing Yogg load dills.
Yeah.
But last week I completed a daily, got 100 gold, and I was like, I'll buy a Whispers pack, and bam, Gold Evolve. I'm like, yes, I have 2 Golden Evolves again. So
yeah, because I crafted Golden Evolves to make this thing happen because I was like, there's no way I'm playing this deck unless my Evolves are golden. Damn it.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense to me. I understand that line of thinking.
It's pretty fabulous. Yeah, no. I will never do that again. Now that this is a thing, I'm never dusting my Golden Evolves.
I have had it's been a weird couple weeks because I've actually had to go back. I had 5,000 gold when this Karazhan launched, when One Night in Karazhan launched. I'm down to I think 1,500 gold because trying to play Purify, I didn't have Ice Howl, so I went and bought a whole bunch of packs to try to get an Ice Howl. I think there was there's like another legend. There was a couple of missing legendaries I had from previous that were like bad, but because of some of these cards, I was like, I need to now try these. And so this expansion has definitely, or this adventure has definitely brought some other cards kind of back into play, I think, which has been really cool to see as well. There's been a lot of cards that we thought we would never see.
I never thought in
index
years I would hear anyone, let alone you, Dills, utter the phrase, "And Arcanosmith is in this deck."
Yeah.
It's just like, no, listeners,
cool.
you are not mistaken. That is not a new card. It has been out for a while. You just haven't played it.
The thing is, look, there's a lot of cards that we were always kind of wondering, like, will this card find a way to make it work, or will something come out? And it has been cool to see how many of cards that have come out are now going back and making cards better. Like that's kind of what I wanted from a small set release, you know?
Yep.
Is cards that really have an impact in that kind of way. So we're getting it.
It's neat. Super cool. And Evolve was the card I think I was the most excited for in Old Gods over anything else. So I am glad to finally see it kind of hitting a stride in an archetype, and I'm super happy that it's my favorite pro player that's really killing with it right now. So, cool stuff, guys. Well, there's some decks for you to go and try out. The deck list will be in the show notes over at amove.tv/TAC. Look for the episode 169 post. Scroll down to the bottom where you will see multiple hyperlinks and find the show notes link. Click on that. Otherwise, I'm sure you can find Beast Druid, Evolve Shaman, and Menagerie Paladin on any Hearthstone fan site of your choosing. Go check it out. Let's take a crazy game story.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. And Jocelyn, you can take the reins today.
Hooray! This one comes to us from Roldy. It says, "Hi, Tac Crew. Longtime listener, love all of your content. I've been playing Hearthstone since beta, but I feel like I've never truly had a Hearthstone moment worthy of being a crazy game story or a trolled in video. That all ended last week. I was trying to enjoy the new adventure cards and play some new decks. Evolution Shaman is by far one of the most fun to play. As long as you pray to the RNG gods, the tempo swings are ridiculous. Anyways, I was matched against a warrior, and I couldn't figure out if he was playing Patron or OTK Worgen. This became apparent when he played a Worgen on turn 8. He didn't play the combo, however, because he was out of mana. I had a couple of totems up. On my turn, I Rockbiter to take out the Worgen and then proceed to play Pantry Spider, Totem Hero Power, and Thing from Below. This gives me a board of 3 totems, 2 1/3 spiders, and a 5/5 taunt. Of course, I follow this up by playing Evolve. I didn't even check to see what my board had turned into, as I feel I've already secured my win and neutralized the warrior's win condition. On my opponent's turn, he proceeds to play another Worgen, and my heart sinks. He proceeds to play Charge on the Worgen, and I stare at the screen, waiting for impending defeat. He then casts Inner Rage, and the Worgen is destroyed! I blankly stare at the screen, trying to process what just happened. I scan my screen and discover that my evolved minions had given me a Jungle Moonkin. The +2 spell damage for both players received caused his Inner Rage to do 3 damage to his Worgen, crushing his OTK dreams. He conceded, and I thank the RNG gods once again. Thanks for listening, Mother Cluckers.
Oh! Oh, I love it. I love it so much. This is this is a cautionary tale of why playing Arena is it will teach you a good skill that will help you even in Constructed, which is reading cards you don't see very often.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't just go for it without taking a look at what the hell just happened. Although I'll say this to the person, to Roldy, you also fell into this trap. You did not look at your board after you evolved, man. Come on, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You got to check out your evolve afterwards.
He probably just had Warcraft open at the same time, and he just went evolve and alt tab or whatever. Yeah. So yeah.
AFK playing Evolve Shaman. I guess that's a deck you can potentially AFK with. By the way, I will point this out. A lot of the OTK Worgens are playing Patrons as well now, because it allows them to, it gives them like a second win condition, but also allows them to get really big battle rage turns off and draw a whole bunch of cards in their deck. So you might see both. You don't always only see one or the other. But if he's playing 2 Worgens, then yeah, he's definitely not playing the Patrons as well.
Awesome.
Just a little, the more you know.
Yeah, that's a good ding. Little star flies past. I'm just gonna be your sound effect guy today. You know, you mentioned the Space Odyssey music, and I got in there with my Evolve rendition, and I'll do your little swooshy ding star now for the more you know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a swooshy ding guy for a while now.
I've got your back. You're my boy, Dills. You're my boy. All right, well,
I was all over Yelp trying to find a swooshy ding guy, and I just couldn't do it. So,
swooshy ding star man.
I know.
Well,
I've been hanging out with him for years.
there's one over in Houston, but he's got 2-star reviews, so not gonna go with that guy. All right, wonderful. Well, let's round this episode out with some emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Thank you, Cheesy Bob. And if you want another reference, you should tune into the live show. You can send your emails to the same place, tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from John, who writes, Dear Dino Descended Discontents. My comment relates to a conversation from, I believe, last week's show where Garrett and Dills were talking about how Hearthstone could incorporate some sort of expel or extended freeze effect, an effect that would render a minion inactive but not dead for some extended period of time. Well, as an avid Overwatch player and a big fan of the Overwatchers podcast, thank you for pimping my own show for me, sir. My first thought was that Team 5 could implement an Ana-like sleep effect. In other words, the effect would put a minion to sleep, rendering it unable to attack until the minion is awakened by taking damage. As this thought dawned on me, my mind immediately started churning with the possibilities. There could be minions that could put other minions to sleep. There could be minions that are innately asleep when played, but that could be awakened through friendly fire. There could even be minions that go to sleep when inspired, and the list goes on. I'd love to hear your group's thought on this. I really like this idea, except for Inspire. Never make another Inspire card.
Well, the problem with this, though, is that all minions enter the board asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already there's the little Z's are already indicating sleep. So some sort of stasis similar to that would be okay.
A little pillow appears on top of the minion.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of awakening minions through damage, unless so. The problem I see with it is that you'd probably to balance it, you'd have to make those minions very powerful, right? Mm-hmm. But it's also really easy to damage your own minions. So in the right class's hands, those would be insane. Warriors, whirlwinding, mages pinging.
Yeah.
Essentially we already have that, but with the berserking minions. But but it is an interesting. I like his out of the box thinking on how to make some sort of thing like this. But you could do some cool stuff with it. I just don't know if sleep. We already have sleeping, so.
Yeah, it would probably have to be something different. Reconcile that. The first thing that came to my mind was the hunter traps, the freezing trap in Warcraft, it freezes the minion unless they take damage. So that's immediately where my head goes. And obviously we already have both freeze effects and freezing trap, but I was just oh yeah, that totally makes sense. We have, precedent for this. This could work. I love it. But yeah, we'd have to try to find some other kind of word for the mechanic because we've already got freezing and it doesn't work like that. We've already got sleeping and it doesn't work like that. So it's got to be something else. I like
the idea of the damage thing though. If it has a turn limit or damage, so you could say put a minion to sleep for 4 turns, 3 turns, something like that. Yeah. Unless they take damage. That type of thing could be pretty cool.
I like the idea because we were throwing around the word exile, which is a magic specific thing. It's a warlock specific spell in World of Warcraft, but I like the idea of banish.
Oh yeah,
because
banish.
Actually, yeah, I like
visually
banish a
lot. The way that effect works visually in World of Warcraft appeals to me and would make sense in Hearthstone because it would be cool if you could banish something so it's still on the board. It is still taking up a slot on the board, but it's kind of see through and you can't do jack with it until you somehow unbanish it.
Is that the one with all the little pins? Is that the Warlock Banish?
Is there pins? I don't think there are. It kind of just turns semi-translucent and they have a purple and green glow around them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna get nerdy real quick here again, but so let me just do this real quick.
Okay, push those glasses
technically, you can only banish demons, and technically only warlocks can banish.
I led with that.
Heroes of Warcraft, and we need to stay with the lore a little bit. That might not be the best term if we're trying to give it to all classes.
Damn it, man! I led with that. Come on, I said. It's a warlock-specific spell in WoW, but something along that line would be, I think, fine.
That fits Jocelyn's idea of it's a CC of some form. So I don't know what you technically call it to make it available to everybody, but you maybe don't even have to make it available to everybody. It could be. I mean, mages are
or you could
technically the only ones with freeze.
Yeah, you could do the same sort of thing for different classes and call it different things because there are many different classes that can CC in different ways. So You know,
people have talked about fear for warlocks. People have talked about like sapping for rogues. Like, oh, we already have sap.
We have
sap,
but yeah.
like, yeah, but sap in the game is a CC. It doesn't make the card go back. So
yeah, it's like
you could garrote in rogue.
Ooh, incapacitating.
Incapacitate in rogue. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, you could definitely find ways to do this.
You could also, we have neutral minions like where the flavor is clearly tied to a class, even though they're a neutral minion. So we could just have a neutral minion that's like, I don't know, Banisher Warlock, and maybe it costs 3 mana, and maybe it's a 2/2, and maybe when it enters the battlefield, it banishes a target minion, and then when it leaves the battlefield, that minion is no longer banished. I don't know. This totally isn't ripped directly from an existing Magic card that I happen to like or anything, but...
I was going to say, wow, you came up with that design like that. I was very impressed for a second.
Look up...
I mean, the truth is, it doesn't really matter what it's called. The idea, the effect is just the cool thing. So... You know, I say go for it, man.
Yeah.
Go for it. Let's see it. It's a good idea.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. Make Banisher Priest a card in Hearthstone is really all I'm saying. So, but yeah, no, good suggestion there, John. I didn't even think about the Z's when it comes. Is it called sleep? I don't think that's like called sleeping though in Hearthstone, right? I realize it has a Z effect, and that would be confusing.
Technically, it's summoning sickness, but they use the little sleep icon, so I don't know. Like it's ambiguous.
Yeah, no,
if you have sleep, and then you have the sleep icon. Although you could just reuse that, you know, and just put the Z's next to people, and you know, and say they're asleep. So it's like putting people back to sleep, right?
Yeah,
I don't see a problem with that either.
I can dig it. I like it. Thank you, John, for your email. Dills, what's up next?
Raven says, "What's up, flustered farm fowl? I've been the alliteration, very nice. I've been rocking the Menagerie Beast Druid since listening to the last few episodes. Dills was right. Menagerie." Warden, he called it manager, but Warden, that's fine. Yeah, it's similar. Was the final missing piece. One question: why is Sir Finley the best Murloc? Wouldn't a charge Murloc work better? I often find the turn or two after a curator turn, I'm setting up my finisher with Savage Roars or something good about changing my hero power I'm missing. See to the luck. Yes, without. So the simple answer is in a deck like the Menagerie Beast Druid. You just want life tap real bad. Life tap is just so good, much better than your normal Druid hero power. But the other thing too is like ping is better. You could go for even rogue. Rogue is better. Rogue hero power is better because you get 2 for 2 mana, 2 pings for 2 mana. So there's lots of different ways to make it cheaper. And it's Sir Finley was in the deck before. You even had the Curator and Menagerie Warden. People were putting Sir Finley and Beast Druid because it's a deck that tends to run out of steam. So yeah, but you don't need it. You could I mean, if you want to try putting in Bluegill Warriors, I fully support your decision, and I say go for it, dude.
Well, and I think that's kind of
it's fine. Too.
Yeah, that's kind of key to the whole like we haven't actually figured out Beast Druid yet. Like everyone kind of knew that after this adventure, it was probably going to be a thing finally. But we definitely haven't figured out what the best play style is. If there's potentially 2 play styles, one that's more aggro, one that's more, kind of mid-range control-y late game. So, like just play around with it, see what works. Maybe there is a better Murloc to go in your specific version. Maybe you have a more aggressive deck and charging works well. Maybe you want to last the late game and you want to refill your hand, and so that's where Life Tap comes in. So play around. Yeah.
But if you notice, Sir Finley goes in a lot of these kind of aggro decks just because the chance to get life tap can lead to like free wins. So like Dragon Warrior, I mean obviously just armoring up in a warrior deck that's never going to shield slam you or just wants to kill you fast, that armor up is really bad in that deck. And Druid hero power is better technically to start with, but it's still like the chance of getting life tap is just so damn good that it's enough to play Sir Finley. Plus, it's a fairly decent chance. I mean, you get 3 out of 8 selections, and then so you only need to hit one out of those 3 being life tap. It's actually fairly decent chances to get it. So
he's just a good card. It's really what it boils down to. Sir Finley's just a damn good card.
Yeah, and in this deck, you can just play him on 1. Like, just go ahead, just pop him out on 1. And then you don't have a Raven, then go for it.
And then you've got a 1/3 on board, and you Zubat, and it becomes a 2/4. 2/4. My math checks out.
2/4. Yep. Yeah, and the ones you're going for, like I said, life tap, ping, rogue is fine, and then sometimes hunter is going to be really good too. And then right behind that would be priest. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really, it's just shaman you don't want.
You don't want shaman,
Yeah.
and you don't want warrior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Paladin's even fine. Just
Unless you're playing
making tokens.
Then at least you know you get 1/1s.
What if you're playing Finley in your milkshake priest and you're playing against a warrior and you're like, finally, I can use shield slam.
That's a stretch, Garrett. That's a stretch.
Let me have my fun. Just give me this one. All right, Jocelyn, final email for today.
This one comes to us from John Yee West. Says, "Hello, Angry Chicken host." Really kind of plain one after the
Just
previous
straightforward
two.
to the point.
Yep, exactly. Although I think this is a new listener because he says, "I am brand new to this type of game. Never played a card game like it in my life. So I feel like he can be forgiven for not coming up with a crazy Angry Chicken."
I like it. I like the intro, man.
I wasn't gonna be angry. I mean, you're the one who's prejudging everyone here based on their introduction, Jocelyn. I mean, I thought Canadians were supposed to be nice.
Oh man, you guys do this all the time. Don't you stick with me
I
with
bet
that.
this
Come
guy
on.
has a firm handshake. I bet he smells of rich mahogany. I bet that this guy is a man. This guy has encyclopedias in his house. This is a man who knows things. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. He says, "I just leveled up all the classes to 10 to unlock the cards by beating the crap out of the innkeeper. On easy difficulty, mind you. What should I do next? Building my own deck seems daunting, but seems to be what people recommend. So, Tech Crew, what do you suggest I try out next to keep getting the hang of the game? Thank you for all the content you produce. Makes driving to work fun." So, first of all, I think this is really freaking cool that we are still getting brand spanking new players to Hearthstone. Like, what is this, year 3? Like, this is awesome. I love this. It's been so long since I've actually done the tutorial and the start of the game. Like, I'm not really 100% sure. I don't know if I would say if you've never played a card game, because I know at least Dills and Garrett had the kind of advantage of coming from Magic, but I'd never done this, and I don't know if building a deck would be the next thing that I did, because especially now that they have the those deck recipes, I think starting with one of the deck recipes and kind of having something pre-built is probably the best thing to do. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have a lot of cards, so I think the first thing you do after you get all your classes to 10 and you beat the innkeeper, move on to the expert innkeeper. That's your second thing, and beat every class on expert, because you actually get like a free 100 gold or something like that.
Right, that's true.
So do that. Get like, your free packs on. Play your free arena. Try that out. Get the feel for that, and then go make a zoo deck.
I was gonna say,
if you don't know what a zoo deck is, I think one of the deck recipes is probably something like a zoo, and but you could probably look it up. There's plenty of versions out there, and just because that's going to be the deck you'll be able to at least mimic with not a lot of cards.
Yep. And if you just really want to make your own deck, go Mage, because it's basically Arena at that point, and Mage is really good even with the basic cards you start with.
True. Yeah, I would say Mage, Hunter, and Warlock are going to be the classes you'll want to focus on first.
That's true.
Because those will be the easiest to kind of wrap your head around what it is you're trying to do. But then it's gonna, don't be afraid to go net deck. Look up decks and just try to make them as close as you can with your cards. And if you can't make it, try to put something maybe of a similar mana cost in that slot that seems okay.
Which is kind of where, I think deck recipes come in, because they already point you in the direction of some kind of an archetype. But then if you don't have all the cards in the recipe, it says okay, I see you don't have X, try Y instead. So it kind of bridges that gap between you trying to have to figure it out yourself, because having never played a card game before, that is extremely, extremely difficult when you're sitting there with your collection in front of you, and whether you've bought some packs or whatever, even just the basic cards you start with, you have no idea how to actually go in and evaluate what's good, what's bad, and what is a good substitute. So having that little bit of extra direction from the recipes, I think, is really good. Also, we're getting a suggestion from the chat room saying if you do want a net deck, looking for budget and then like insert class name here deck will usually give you a deck full of like common stuff that doesn't use legendaries, stuff that's basic cards you might already have. So if you are looking stuff up, try the word budget in your search, and that'll help you a lot.
True. I've done this now. I've done this process 3 times, so it's doable. You can make a deck that will get you, and like your goal shouldn't necessarily be to climb to legend. Your goal should be maybe to always get at least to rank 20 and get your card back every season. And with limited card pools, will have like 95% win rates to rank 20 on my other accounts. Like that, you could definitely still and you'll be playing against other people who don't have all the cards too. So, yeah.
Yeah. I would recommend, honestly, I think it's still relevant if you want to try making your own deck, and you're probably going to end up on Mage. Look up those old Trump videos where he was playing free to play to Legend,
yeah.
And he did it with Mage, and I think a lot of the lessons learned there are still relevant if you are starting with a fresh account. Also, if you're not familiar with Trump, it is not the presidential candidate.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, just to be excruciatingly clear. Think of like the exact opposite of that guy.
I also would recommend just try doing stuff that seems to make sense to you. And then if it's like failing, then you understand like why it didn't, like it might have made sense, but it isn't actually good. Because when I started out in Hearthstone, and technically I had played some Magic, but I didn't like come from a Magic background of like playing a bunch, and being competitive. Like I understood how card games kind of worked, but I did things like Spell Power Mage and all beasts in my Hunter deck, and I'm going to play Warlock, so I should probably heal myself a lot so I can do all this life tapping, right? And I tried all these stupid ideas that totally fell flat on their face, but I learned that they, okay, I shouldn't be so concerned with my own health as a Warlock. I should really be concerned about just beating the crap out of my opponent's face because I'm just playing stronger stuff than them and I never run out of cards. And like my own health, now the concept of my own health not mattering that much starts to make sense. Whereas before, I could not for the life of me wrap my head around, wait, my life total doesn't matter? And this might, we're going to get a little advanced, if I go too far into that. But there's things, and Trump has a video, Trump is great for this kind of stuff. Like, why is it better to use weapons on minions and not just, here, I have this axe, I should just hit his face with it, right?
These are 3 damage.
And these are
that's
things,
like a 10th of his health.
like when the game first came out, there was memes in Twitch chat, because if you held a fiery war axe after attacking with it, killing a minion on turn 1, then there's no minion to kill on turn 2, and you don't attack with it. Everyone in Twitch would be like, "You just missed 3 damage! Oh my god! Like you could have attacked." It's like, no, I want to be able to kill another minion with this, like that board control, dude. And this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen just with you messing around and doing things and finding out that it doesn't work, and then you start to realize why those concepts don't work, and then you start to kind of move into what does work. So I don't know, just get in there, dude. Get in there, mess around. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to lose a whole bunch of games while you're trying to figure out what makes you win.
Yeah, try not to get frustrated, for sure. Which is easier said than done.
Yeah,
like at the end of a game, just think, well, what did I learn? Like, what did I learn this game? Did I lose? Yeah, I lost. What did I learn? Like, okay, that guy played a minion on every turn. Seemed to work pretty well for him, right? Maybe I should try to play a minion every turn. That kind of stuff.
Man, I wish I could wipe my brain and go back. That was a very fun discovery period.
Sure. Yeah.
It's fun, man. Well,
it is
anyway,
fun though to wipe your card collection. Like, I mean, it can be frustrating for a while, but I mean, I recommend you guys do it. If you don't have like an EU account, you can easily make one anytime you want. Just switch it in the BattleNet client and then go, and it starts the game all over again.
I have an EU account, but I can't remember why I did it. It might have been like the GVG release or something where you got the free card packs, and I thought that would be good if I ever wanted to maybe do it, but then I didn't log in during Old Gods to get like all the 13 bonus packs or whatever it was. So yeah.
I did it just to feel the feeling again, to kind of send myself back a little bit and try to understand a newer player's mindset and what that, because I don't know what it feels like. I have all the cards, right? So I don't know what it's like to not have all the cards. So now it's like interesting to go over there and try it.
Dills, was it more than a feeling?
Yeah. It was great. It was like, I was going to say something probably that I shouldn't, so never mind. I'm just going to stop right here. Jocelyn will still laugh because she can probably figure out.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, okay.
I was going with Boston, so I don't know where you're going.
Well, no, yeah, that's great.
Boston.
I mean, I get that reference too, but.
Alrighty, fine. John, thank you. Welcome to Hearthstone. Enjoy your stay. And that's
Welcome
gonna.
to the Angry Chicken.
Welcome to the Angry Chicken, dude.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
This is the last show, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
The game is
Man,
actually
poor
dead.
Timing.
How did you? How are you playing the game? The game's dead now. Purify is here and it has ruined the game. The game has deleted. Blizzard, the Team One offices caught on fire the second the card was pushed live. It was over. It's all over. I'm sorry.
Too bad, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just when we were getting going,
Yeah, Ben Brode is just now going to play. He's just going to start hardcore raiding professionally in World of Warcraft because he's out of a job. It's rough. It's rough. It's hard times. Thank you, everyone, for your emails. Again, send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. Thank you to our producers, Declan H. and Peter Williams. Keep those iTunes reviews coming, guys. If you're listening on iTunes, really appreciate them. They help out the show quite a bit. Drop us a 5-star review if you dig the show. Let's see. Other than that, check out our we've got swag, guys. We've got quite a bit of swag. We have coffee mugs, pint glasses, wine glasses, which you can find over at etched.amove.tv. So go check that out. We have shirts available at shirts.amove.tv. We're working on sprucing that shop up, actually, and getting a slightly more permanent home. But for the time being, you can go get yourself a Jobs Done t-shirt. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast and catch us live every Tuesday night at 4 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/YaMoveTV or at alphageekmedia.com. Dills, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I am at Willie Dills. Check me out. My Twitch channel is twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF and youtube.com/WillieDillsSF as well as YouTube. There's a lot of videos that are coming out about some of the new decks, so look for those. And unfortunately, this week will be a little light on the streaming, but we'll come back with a vengeance next week. So I'm going to try to fit in as many as I can this week, but I do have someone in town, so you may not see as much of me this week as you normally do. And I'm sorry for that, but I promise we'll return to our regularly scheduled long-ass 8-hour streams very soon.
How dare you, Dills, not stream for 8 hours straight?
Tisk,
I mean,
tisk.
normally I don't dare. I do it. But yeah, it's gonna I'm gonna try to make it work while he's here, but I also don't want to be like, hey, by the way, dude, you want to just chill and watch TV? I'm just gonna sit here and
For
play video games for
8
8 hours and yell into my computer. So that's cool, right?
Great Austin experience.
Yeah, I'm a better host than that.
Awesome. Jocelyn, how about yourself?
People can find me in Warcraft. That's it. That's all I'm doing for the rest of a month.
You can find her in the Broken Isles.
Yep.
Doing spoiler redacted.
But seriously, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. You can also find me right here on AMove TV every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Gamers In. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we are actually going to have Garrett on tomorrow night because Ryan's on vacation. So it will be just a Legion-y, Warcraft-y explosion of awesome.
With any luck, we're saying yes for now. And if adult things come up in the meantime, which sounds dirtier than it is.
It sounds so dirty.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
If Garrett has to go adulting, then he won't be around, and that'll make me sad.
Which almost sounds like I'm cheating on my wife. So you didn't make it any better. But
I'm trying. Trying.
Yeah, no. I'm probably going to be on the Gamers End tomorrow unless I have to deal with house stuff. So.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter, folks, at Garrett Art. There are 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett, 1 R and 1 T in art. Just let that sink in.
Oh, you spell art that way, huh?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
I have never heard that before, Garrett.
I know.
You're thinking way outside the box. No wonder people can't ever find you.
Anytime. I'm not joking.
I like to put an F in front of it, but that's just me.
Oh, that's great. Although literally every time I say, when I just leave it at there are 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett, and I don't say anything about art, there's always one smartass in the chat room who's like, what? So there's how many R's and T's in art, man? How many? And it's like, I hate you. I really should just go with the R2T2 that Patrick recommended I change all of my handles to. Should really do that. But go check that out. Check out nomoonart.com. That's my graphic design portfolio. I do take graphic design commissions, so go check that out. And check out Into the Nexus, where I'm talking Heroes of the Storm. Overwatch is where I'm talking Overwatch, and everything else over at emove.tv. You can find it over there. That will do it for this episode. Hope everyone's enjoying the Menagerie. And I'm sure most of you are leveling in WoW while listening to this. So good luck to you in there. May your drops be purple, the skies be clear, and you don't get too angry that you can't fly yet. That'll do it, guys. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!
Woo! Fancy fingers.